My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask you for pardon of my sins and for the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. Matthew narrates that when Jesus and his disciples came to Capernaum, the collectors of the temple tax approached Peter and asked him, "Doesn't your teacher pay the temple tax?" Well, that temple tax wasn't a government tax, it was a religious tax. It went to support the work in the temple. So Jesus did not stop his disciples from paying the temple tax. As we would see later in the account of the miraculous catch of the fish, which was supposed to provide the coin for the payment of the tax. So when the tax collectors approached Peter and asked him, "Does your teacher pay the temple tax?" Peter replied in one word. He said, "Yes." And then Peter entered the house where Jesus was. Jesus approached Peter and asked him, "What is your opinion, Simon? From whom do the royalty of the earth demand taxes? Is it from their subjects or from foreigners?" And Peter replied, "From foreigners." Jesus then commented, "So the subjects are exempt. However, we do not want to offend them." So Jesus instructed Peter to go to the sea and told him, "When you haul in a fish, open its mouth, and there you will find a coin. The coin will be worth twice the temple tax, so give the coin to the temple to pay the tax for me and for you." Notice how Jesus never gets what he deserves while living on earth. He is the Son of God. He deserves all of mankind to lift him up on the throne and to bow in worship. Yet here he is, even going out of his way to pay the temple tax. But a big contrast to our sometimes proud attitudes, when we feel offended by how others treat us, or when we feel they don't take into account who we are. So here I'm reminded of a picture of a small orange kitten looking in the mirror and seeing a large lion. Then the caption above the kitten proclaims, "The most important thing is how you see yourself." So I wonder if that kitten saw himself as the lion and what it did next, or what happened next. In any case, the danger is that at times we see ourselves as unique and different. So we turn to you, Lord, asking your help to avoid this danger. Give us, Jesus, the ability to see ourselves accurately. An author observes that our desire to be special begins when we are in diapers, but grows ever stronger when we are teenagers and adults. That even shows in our personal preferences. As this author illustrates it, he said one could be, for example, capable of ordering a decaffeinated cappuccino with non-fat milk at a cafe just to feel good about getting the product exactly the special way one wanted it. When, come to think of it, that's asking for something so out of the ordinary when he could just have asked for a cup of regular coffee with non-dairy creamer. But in our culture of entitlement, at times, we can't help but overvalue ourselves, and we expect that we deserve a unique treatment because much is owed to us. I remember a survey of college students some time ago confirming these perceptions. 2/3 of the students believed that their professor should give them special consideration if they explained they were trying hard. Well, those kids probably forgot that grades are given for performance and not just for trying. 1/3 of the students believed they deserved at least a B just for attending class. And perhaps the most unbelievable was 1/3 thought they should be able to reschedule their final exam if it interfered with their vacation plans. But at this point, in our prayer, we can ask ourselves, what about me? In what ways do I have a sense of entitlement? Am I expecting to be treated a certain way just because of what I do or what I give or what I say? We can often be deceived about who we really are when our hearts are entitled. Because as long as our hearts are entitled, personal growth in our relationship with God and with others can be compromised. Like when we get angry with God and people around us, when they don't give us what we want, or when things aren't working out the way we believe we deserved or we expected. So Lord Jesus, you're the only one who's ever been truly entitled because you're the only begotten Son of God. Yet, you lay down your entitlement so that we might share in your glory. You see, Jesus didn't deserve to bear the cross for us. Yet, he did so for our eternal good. Now, in our case, it may not be easy to give up our rights for the sake of others. But in imitation of you, Jesus, help us to choose from time to time to give up what we think we deserve if that can benefit the others. It's impressive to see how Jesus did not have any sense of entitlement, that he was even willing to make concessions rather than give offense. He could have claimed exemption from the payment of the temple tax. After all, he is the Son of God, and he is greater than the temple. But you did not do that, Jesus. You did not demand for an exemption. Rather than make himself the primary point of reverence and make the entire world to turn around him, Jesus indicated to Peter how to get the money to pay the tax. Because Jesus was not like someone who's, hey, I'm special, look at me. Since he was confident of who he was, he didn't need to exaggerate or overemphasize his status. He did not consider himself a star who should be getting special treatment, a treatment better than what everyone else gets. On the contrary, he had so much empathy towards others that he was willing to bend over to them rather than collide with them. So let's remember this passage of the Gospel. Since we are people who live and work with other people, and we may not like all their opinions or their way of doing things, but the main question after all is, are their points of view really hurting us, really hurting our souls? Because if not, then let's hold our peace, lest we should offend them. We may not think that those we live with or work with have a point, but after all, are the points on which we are dissatisfied really important? If not, then let's be quiet, lest we should offend them. You see, Jesus is fully aware that he is not duty-bound to pay taxes, but for him, no need to argue, no need to fight, which could only alienate people. So when we think we are on the right, let's be right without alienating people in our families and elsewhere. Lord, help me to want to put others first. Help me to want to experience the world without always thinking about myself. So now we turn to Mary, who is also an example of a really humble person, someone who didn't flaunt her entitlement. She's the Mother of God, but she refers to herself simply as the handmaid of the Lord. But all generations call her blessed. So Mary, teach us to be humble. Help us to remember that above every other title or honor that we could ever achieve, the best title is that of being children of God. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.